What's going on, people? What's going on, everybody? Ciao ragazzi. My name is Anthony. Welcome back to Inter Worldwide. A very big happy new year to anybody that is watching this, whether it's live now or back later on. It's already been a good year for me, and I'm looking forward to our first video of 2023. Ciao Massimo, who is always loyally in the house straight away. And thank you to Emiliano as well, who is always loyally in the house straight away. Ciao, Debbie Kerr. It must be hella time for you right now. Lay it on me. What absolute BS time is it in Belfast? And thank you to all that are joining me. We've got 12 people, double digits straight away, that clicked this video. That makes me very happy here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 p.m. on a Monday, a holiday Monday, though, December the 2nd. So it doesn't feel like your normal Monday. Obviously, it's a holiday Monday during the Christmas and New Year period. Ciao, Vitali, for coming in. 4 in the morning, Debbie. You're fucking nuts. You and your husband. You're absolutely nuts. Ciao, cheers and shout out to you both. I bet you had some really, really cool Christmas and New Year's going on. Mike Ma, another channel member, is in the house as well. Thank you. There's 14 people here now. This is really good. This is really good. Balkan Warriors in the house. How is Chelsea allowed to spend 125 mil on Enzo? They spent 600 mil already. Man, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed to the Football Worldwide channel, because I'm thinking of, while I got this time off, I'm thinking of doing some chat about the Premier League on that channel as well, because I watch a lot of Premier League, and I could echo this, man. Chelsea are in the pits at the moment. They just coughed up a 1-1 result to Nottingham Forest, and they didn't even look good Raheem Sterling scored off the rebound after about like 16 minutes. But Chelsea are in the pits at the moment. How are they being allowed to spend what they do? Ciao, Mike. Thanks for coming through. Hashraf as well. It's 11 p.m. in the US. Which part of the US are you on? That would put you on the West Coast. Is that right? Maybe I'm completely wrong in that aspect as well. Khaled's in the house as well. How you going, man? Look, we win over Napoli. We restart our season. They start with the doubts. Is that difficult? Yeah, but beating Napoli is so much easier said than done, isn't it? So I don't know why anybody would expect anything out of that game. But yeah. All right, East Coast. Whereabouts in the East Coast, Vitali, are you at? West Coast is now 8 p.m. All right, cool. Are you from the West Coast? Mike, whereabouts are you from? Let me know if you're from the West Coast of the States. I can't wait to go back and visit one day. We've got 15 people with us right now, and we've been already live for 5 minutes. So it sounds like a really, really good time to check in with everybody. And Christian Cartello has just finished work as well. He's in the house. He just finished work. Perfect timing. I love that. I love that. Shout out to Seattle as well for Mike. I love having international people with me. This is my biggest hobby and pastime. I absolutely love it. So today's point of the video is pretty simple. As all videos are in the holiday season lately, we'll run through like a couple of the headlines or whatever's going on, and then we'll jump straight into the content, which we are going to review match day 1 to 15 of our current season. And it's been a long, short first half of a season, hasn't it? Because when you look at it, you need 19 games to check the halfway point. We've only had 15. The only reason it feels like the halfway point is because we've had that little bit of a delay during the World Cup, in which most teams would clock about an extra 5 to 6 fixtures anyway. And maybe not 5 to 6, but at the very, very least 3 or 4. And that would put them into midway territory. We ain't in midway territory. We're about 42 to 43% away through the season. There is so much Serie A still to play. And that's why, if what Khaled says actually happens and we do get 3 points against Napoli, then we can start to revisit the whole season and take a look at it and go, if we were to do X, Y, Z, at the very least, we should be able to challenge for the league. Challenge meaning you get to the last 5 or 6 games still mathematically in it. If you get to the last 4 or 5 games mathematically in it, each game becomes sort of like a shootout in a way, unless that team is 11, 12 points ahead. How you going, Frankie? Happy New Year, Frankie, man. Thanks for coming in. Looking forward to the second half of the season. You don't have good vibes. I don't have great vibes, but something about me just isn't as stressed. So I think this Inter side will do more than enough to get to the top 4. And that at the end of the day is the objective as the season, is to finish top 4, just survival. Happy New Year to you as well, Zarok. Thanks for coming through. So latest headlines, there's not too much to talk about. We had Romelu Lukaku do a little bit of an interview. It's the first half of that part of that interview. I don't know why all these athletes and these megastars need to release interviews in parts now these days. I guess it's a social media vibe, social media atmosphere that we live in, but you can't actually air a full interview at once. Go figure. Spoiled, egotistical human beings. But that's fine. Basically, he just talks and reiterates how much he enjoys being back here, how he declares the season is not over yet, and how we'll be looking to stay here in the future. We're going to have to look for something important from him in the next part of the season to warrant even coming close to renewing that sort of wage, which could be anywhere from 8.5 to 10 million just for that one season. So it's not cheap at all. It's very, very expensive to keep Romelu Lukaku on the books as a temporary player. The other news, and I guess you could say it's slightly good news, slightly better than average news, is that Skriniar and his entourage have not spoken to any other clubs. And apparently there's enough evidence to suggest that. If that is the case, that's nice, because with his contract out in less than 6 months now, it's no way that you wouldn't be speaking to other clubs. The second half of these headlines and these stories say that basically Milan Skriniar is waiting for our offer, and provided that we beat the current offer, which I think currently sits at 6.5 plus bonuses, he will be inclined to stay. So let's hope we don't cheap out and offer 6.5 plus extra bonuses. You got to give him 500K at least on top of that. You almost got to make him the highest earner at the club. I know it's hardball from his entourage. I know it's hardball from him in general. I still won't be positive. I still won't be optimistic until I see rumors coming out that he has agreed from the likes of the tier 1 journalists. And if that happens, I'll be inclined to believe a meeting is on the cards. But let's not forget that tier 2 journalists last Mercato were saying things like Perisic was about to re-sign. We're saying things like Bremer was done, like Dybala was done. I know they don't have all the ins and outs, and last-minute things changed really quickly last season with the state of our club. But I can't stand journalists that act like they've got the inside scoop to the point where things are done deals, and then less than 24 to 48 hours later, they become unstuck. They become unstuck just as quickly as their integrity and their journalistic pedigree, in my opinion. We need Zhang to sell ASAP. Yes, we do. It's almost the be-all and end-all. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. The Skriniar headline and the Lukaku headline, as you'd expect, because we're at that point of the season right now where everyone is on like a little bit of a holiday from Christmas to New Year's, but it can't come around too quickly. It's Monday afternoon here in Sydney, Australia, and I know that Serie A kicks off again Wednesday night. Salernitana and Milan. It's going to be dope. It's going to be dope. There's going to be a lot to take in. Serie A is back. It's kicking, and we kick off against Napoli. So it's important to, in life, you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been. And Harry's here. Hi, Anthony. Hope you're good. Just getting ready for work. Going to watch the video later. No worry. I'm getting anxious about Skriniar. We're all anxious about Skriniar, but let's just hope for the best, man. Let's hope for the best. We'll see what happens. We have to go back. So you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been. And this is where we have been this season. Let's start with match day uno. Let's start with the first day of the season. We get the game underway in the second minute of play with a goal for Romelu Lukaku. And at that point, you're probably thinking, wow, it's taken him 2 minutes to score back with Inter. Big Rom is back in the flesh. Let's go. Dai ragazzi. But it comes unstuck quickly in the second half, 2 minutes into the second half, actually, where Cisse scores for Chelsea. And then we need to rely on the latest of late goals, one of many that you will see in these first 15 match days of our Serie A domestic campaign. And big bad Denzel, bruv. That's what he does. That's what he does. He gets in behind that play. Absolute luck of the draw to be in right there at the last second of the game, in that spot to score the goal. But we get our first 3 points away to Lecce. A nervous start, a really nervous start. And I knew that there was a sign of some tricky things to come. Next game of the season, we take on Spezia, who kept it tough for us in the opening half an hour, but things didn't look too tough by the end of the game. We had 3 goals by the end, goals for Lautaro Martinez, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, and Joaquin Correa set us on our way. Now you're 6 points from 6. You're 6 from 6, and you're thinking, we've done the business against bad teams. Let's just wait till we come up against some decent opposition. And hey, if you get 3 points, if you play well, if you do some good things from here on in, well, you can afford to be happy and look forward to the rest of the season. And this is where it starts to become unstuck. So make sure you're dropping in some comments as well from these fixtures and let me know what your memories are. Let me know what you remember from these fixtures. At this point, it looks like we've got the majority of our squad fairly fit. Correa's fit and scoring, even if it is the third goal in a rout. Lukaku is back assisting for Martinez, celebrating with him on the back of a first opening goal against Lecce. And then our first tricky fixture of the season turns into a disaster class of a game. We concede the first goal to Felipe Anderson. We score and get it back to 1-1 with Martinez. And when we do score and get it back to 1-1 from Martinez in the second half, I remember getting pretty hyped about this. I remember thinking, we're going to come back. We're going to do well. We're going to close this game out. As the minutes tick on, we start to slow down. We look sluggish. The misplaced passes in midfield and our inability to get behind the lines in fullback were very, very detrimental to the overall result. And yeah, Alberto second, Anderson first, and the Alberto goal was fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant. Pedro wraps it up in the 88th minute as well. And as you can see, we're unstuck at this point. We look dejected. The Lazio fans obviously in jubilation. Luis Alberto's goal in the top left corner, as you can see, was so classy. And this is pretty much also where it needs to be pointed out. This is probably the tipping point for Samir Handanovic. If he was on the tipping point before, this was the point where the lateral side of things decided to overcome everything else, and he started to tip in a negative direction. Oh, well, you snooze, you lose. All good things come to an end. we had to back that up pretty well. And I knew that we sort of would. I remember I was nervous going to bed the night before, and I woke up to us leading 2-0. We had the 2-0 jump by halftime, which is what you expect us to have against a side like Cremonese. And then there was a great goal, consolation goal for Ekareke. Once again, I'm not too sure if Handanovic was in goal in that game. I think I'd like to believe that he was actually in goal on that game. And Onana was coming in the Champions League midway through that point. So we're at August 30 at the moment. And we've put together 3 wins and 1 loss. No draw yet. As we would come to find out by the end of match day 15, we're still waiting for that draw. But with 3 wins and 1 loss, it could be better, but it could be a lot worse as well. A lot worse. And at the moment, you're not feeling too bad. You're feeling like we can at least match it with the boys this season. We can start going toe to toe, even though we haven't got as many of the players in the offseason that we would have liked to have get in the Mercato. It doesn't really matter what's going on. Lord Figo, Forza your damn self. I'll be chatting to you soon, man. Don't worry, I've just been a little bit busy, bro, but I'm hitting you up soon for a nice, good talk. Man, we got a nice, good hiding, didn't we? We got a nice, good hiding in the derby. 3-2 flatters us. We opened the scoring in the 21st minute with Brozovic, but we barely had enough time to celebrate because 6.5 minutes later, Leao was in. And then he scored again in the 60th. Meanwhile, in between that, Giroud had already made it 2-1 as he absolutely turns Stefan de Vrij, our most embarrassing moment of the season so far. And the reigning champions are just on top of us, on top of the city, and on top of the world. And it sucks. Absolutely sucks. Ilan Dzeko pulled a goal back, and there was still time to get back into the game, but we couldn't do that. We couldn't get it back to 3-3, let alone go around scoring. And I think Handanovic was still hanging around at this point, as Emiliano is pointing out. And this was definitely the tipping point. If Lazio was like the sword, this was turning it inside the guts. So it's a bad loss for us, man. That's such a bad loss this season. You know what I mean? That's really a loss that dictates where our season has come from and where it's been at. Because you lose to Lazio and then you beat Cremonese, you're thinking, all right, there's one way to make sure that Lazio loss absolutely means nothing. And I mean nothing. And that's to beat Milan in the derby and be 4 wins out of 5. But not only do you do that, you put in an average performance, man. I remember watching it. It was a bang average performance. And we came away with no points. Milan came away with it with 3 punti. 3 valuable points that they use to sit above us in the Classifica at the moment. We back it up with a win against Torino at home, but we were 0-0 until the 89th minute, a game that once again I somehow woke up to watch. It was horrendous quality football. It was a game where I thought this is going to go to a draw. I was already getting ready to do a pessimistic post-match reaction, and then Marcelo Brozovic just pops up in the box, close inside the 6-yard box, not even the 18-yard, the 6-yard box, and he's right there. Small touch, small flick finish with the outside of his boot, I believe it was, or maybe it was the inside of his left. I can't actually remember. But 3 big precious points. But once again, we're not playing well now. Now we've had 2 losses and 4 wins. And while that's 12 points out of 18, it's not the worst amount ever. It's not good. It's no longer good. It's no longer a good amount of points. So disappointing that right now, at this point of the campaign, we're 1-0 against Torino, but still looking at us going, not feeling good. Like, I didn't feel good at this point of the season either. Did I miss one? Oh, yes, I think I did miss one. Holy crap. We continued to stink it up after that. We had 2 back-to-back losses, which brings us to 6 wins and 4 losses at this point. The first one is on the 18th of September, 2022. Udinese 3, Inter 1. We opened the scoring in the 5th minute with Barella. I remember watching him score it. It was a great goal. And then in the 22nd minute, an own goal to Milan Skriniar puts it back level. The game stays to that point until the 84th minute, where Biol for Udinese, and then Azian scores in the 93rd as well. What a disaster, bruv. At this point, there's fans, and I know them saying, look, Lazio's tough, Milan's tough. It's just Lazio, it's just Milan. But after this game, I challenged even the ultimate optimist, the blind optimist, to come at me saying that we were in a good space. We were not in a good space. We were not in a good space. We're still not in a great space. But at this point, we were below average. You lose 3-1 to Udinese after scoring the first goal, after losing 2 games in your last 3 to Lazio and Milan. That's a bad run of form, a very poor run of form. And that's where we were at mid-September 2022. All of our players were playing poorly at this point. Nobody was actually walking away with good performances. And then we did it again. We scored first at home against Roma in the 30th minute, and then we let Dybala score in the 39th, and Chris bloody backpost Smalling score in the 75th, sorry. This is on the 1st of October. The 1st of October. So things weren't going good at this point. Things were not going good. Chris Smalling might end up being playing in our jersey next season, so I'm not going to throw too much shade on him from here. So at this point, I'm sitting there thinking, we've got tough fixtures coming up. We've got very tough fixtures coming up, especially the ones like away from home against Sassuolo. And we played Sassuolo the week later, October 8th, and we score first in Dzeko, but then Fratesi equalizes, and then we rely on Dzeko once again in the 75th minute. The man who just keeps on collecting competition points started collecting competition points again for us around about this point of the campaign, which is what you'll see going forward. I remember watching this game once again on my couch, and as Dzeko scored his goal, I could barely celebrate. Barely. All I did was smile and shake my head, the same way I did when he scored the goal against Venezia, the campaign before that. Eden Dzeko, man, bailing us out. Really bailing us out left, right, and center at this point. We're going back-to-back wins after this to make it 3 in a row. The first one is routine. Martinez opens the scoring against Salernitana, and then Barella finalizes the result in the 58th minute. And then we have our most pazza game of the season so far, our craziest game of the season so far. We take on Fiorentina, and we score the first goal in the 2nd minute. And then we score the 2nd goal in the 15th minute. And by this point, you're thinking, oh, wow, this is one of our better games, one of our better wins of the season is coming. But Fiorentina, not to be died out, a horrible challenge from Di Marco in the 33rd, or just before the 33rd, leads for the penalty for Cabral to convert. And then Icone scores a fantastic goal on his left foot while he's inside the far end of the box in the 60th minute. It's 2-2. I'm fuming at this point, by the way. Like, I watched this game live as well. There have been so many pain-in-the-ass kickoff times, man. I swear to God, this season has been horrendous. And I've watched a few of these games with my dog, Vince. This one, I watched with my dog, Vince. I remember it. It was a roller coaster of bullshit. I hated this game. I hated this win. Even go and watch my match reaction after this game. I'm a mess. It's 2-2 after 60 minutes. Lautaro Martinez ends up scoring a penalty in the 73rd. So 17 minutes to go. We're up 3-2. And then, of course, Fiorentina have every bit of possession, every bit of the ball, whipping boxes into the whipping crosses into the box, left, right, and center. And they score in the 90th minute, Luka Jovic. I'm doing that thing where I walk around like you swear really silently under your breath, like, fuck. That was the worst point for me of the season so far. So bad and that I was so angry that I was still frustrated and angry as we score the winning goal 4 minutes later. Mkhitaryan scores that against the pace goal, against the run of play goal. And I barely stopped cursing and walking around when I realized that we had just run the ball into the back of the net. And after I saw the replay and realized, oh, there's actually 0 chance of offside or 0 chance of any discrepancy in the build-up, I realized we were going to snake and win this game 4-3. That's our most bizarre game of the season. I still cannot believe that result actually happened. I never want to relive that game again. To me, it's one of the craziest games of our modern era. Our next game was a routine win, 3-0 against Sampdoria, October 29, 2022. We're at now. Stefan de Vrij gets his first goal of the season with a header. Barella makes it 2-0. Correa scores a great runaway goal in which he runs probably about 60 to 65 meters in total to convert that goal. Had a chance to play it to Lukaku on his outside right as he enters that field of play or that part of the pitch, but chooses to go himself and backs himself to go hard at the near post and even just catch the keeper's footing. I think it's Odero, the keeper, Odero for Sampdoria, catches his footing just a little bit stuck in the mud at that point, even though he's on his dominant side and still closer to the ball than not. Great goal from Joaquin Correa and great win for us. Coming off the back of those 3 wins, we're now 4 wins on the bounce here. And the resurgence was very much intact because you got to keep in mind that even though this video is focused on Serie A, we still had that joker in the background where we're performing above par in the Champions League. We had just come off beating Barca at this point, knowing that a better result in the Camp Nou means, or like an okay result in the Camp Nou means that we're going through to the next round. Crazy motherfucking shit. And we're here beating Sampdoria as well. Things were looking a-okay. We come up against Bologna, conceding early. I remember in the game, in the 22nd minute, Liko Jarnes with a good finish, actually, with a good goal. Like, it took a massive deflection, but I remember he ended up like hitting it well. It looks like it's going wide by about half a meter to a meter. And then just a monster deflection carries it more into the goal than it should have been anyway. Dzeko, 5 minutes later, 1-1. Di Marco, 10 minutes after that, 2-1. Hakan, Martinez. After that, 3-1, 42nd. Di Marco, 4th on the 48th. Hakan, 59. Gossen, 76. 6-1, our most resounding result of the season so far. A really, really good victory, a really, really good game of football. Federico Di Marco's claim to fame sort of in the background as our best player of the season so far, sort of in the background as a player that we all know his heart, grit, grinta, passion, intensity is going to get him well beyond what he needs to be at this club. But is his technical ability and ability on the ball and to use it going to be enough? I think yes. I think he can only improve. We've got a gem in this guy. You got this guy, Bastoni and Barella. Three legit Interisti by heart in the squad. The aim is to protect them at all costs and get them led by Milan Skriniar. It's a good look. This domino for Skriniar is so important in the offseason. So important. Probably our most important result of the season, our most important result being 3 points, our most important win of the season had to have come in the game where we traveled to Bergamo. This game kicked off at 10:30 p.m. on a Sunday in Sydney. I watched the first half and the first half only because I was just so tired. I was falling asleep on the couch. That's right. I get that tired that I can watch Inter and fall asleep on the couch. It's bizarre. But we conceded the first goal to Lookman, a 25th minute penalty, another Stefan de Vrij error, a huge mistake, horrible challenge. And in this day and age, you know that you're going to be awarded a penalty if you go down like that. Idan Dzeko saving us points, getting us points once again. A goal to make it 1-1. 1-1 in the 36th. And we enter the second half and we make it 3-1 in the space of 5 minutes. Dzeko again in the 56th, and Luis Palomino gets an own goal. He then goes on to score at the other end 15 minutes later, as you do in Serie A. 3-2 win for us in Bergamo. Huge result. To beat Atalanta in their home ground after knowing that not getting 3 points would put us behind the pace still, we've backed up well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At this point, you've got 6 points in a row, 6 wins in a row, 18 points out of 18 after falling short against in those 2 games against Udinese and Roma. So we've recovered well enough to be thereabouts, which is pretty much where we are at right now. Nay, it is exactly where we are at right now. We are here at match day 15. We are 5th on the ladder, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just get the Serie A table up to make sure I'm completely accurate. When I read this out, might as well just share the screen as well. Why not? Why not? Why not? Nice and quick. Internet and computer is running very well in the new year so far, I must say. Fifth on the ladder, Napoli first, 15 games, 41 points. Now, if we can beat them on Thursday, we will be with 33 competition points in a match day where one of the teams above us could very well drop points. And if they do, well, we'd be in the top four. Imagine beating the league leaders and jumping into the top four in the same match day. It seems like the exact same thing that would revolt us. However, Salernitana play Milan, Lecce play Lazio, and Fafangulo. Are you serious? Are you fucking serious? On this match day, Juventus play Cremonese, Lazio play Lecce, Milan play Salernitana, and we play Napoli. Beautiful. You love it. Things are definitely going in our favor. I smell money on this weekend. I'm going to make some money off these other clubs beating these absolute pagan clubs. And then the run after that, we've got Monza, which is nice. Juve have a tricky game against Udinese. Milan have Roma. Napoli have Samp. Lazio have Empoli. Yeah, either or. We're not in a position where we can look at other teams anyway. We just need to focus on ourselves. What's going on, Darian? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. There's still 17 people here right now, which is nice. I'm going to finish up very soon. We've been going for just over half an hour. So, yeah, we're going to need to put together some games this season, the rest of this season, and it starts with beating Napoli. We've got a 3-point jump over Atalanta and a 3-point jump over Roma. This is going to be the top 7 for this season. You know that for a fact. It just comes down to being able to better the likes of Milan, Juve, Lazio, Atalanta, and Roma in the back end of the season. And if we can do that, we should be able to finish in the top 4, maybe even 3 or 4 match days before the back end of the season. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, to finish in the Champions League spots 3 or 4 games before the end of the season, that really is the main goal. Mario Delgado here. How you going? I hate that when interfaces Milan. Teo knows he's going to own Dumfries. The guy knows how to play mind games against him. 100%. 100%. All right. That's it for me. Time to clock off. Thank you to everybody that joins in. If there's anything else that we need to discuss or talk free to drop it into the chat right now. But we play Napoli. Let's do some housekeeping first. We play Napoli in exactly 2.5 days' time. Thursday morning, 6:45 in the morning for me, which means I will be up and energized watching that one in my school holidays. Holy crap. Napoli. Their first, oh man, it's going to be rough. This really could be a game that dictates us into the back end of the season. We have to come back after the World Cup, first game in a couple of months' time, and we are up against the league leaders. Napoli, 5 wins in their last 5, 37 goals scored, 12 goals scored against, a plus 25 goal difference, 8 goals more than the next best side, which is Juve on plus 17. This is going to be tough. This is going to be hard. This is going to be very, very tricky. Very tricky. I don't see it happening. In terms of the content that I'm going to do on this channel in between now and that game, I'm hoping to get my friend Armando on the channel for a match preview. If not, he'll come on for a match reaction sometimes afterwards. But you can expect content before the Napoli kickoff in some way, shape, or form. Thank you very much to the 19 people still here right now. Make sure you like the video. Let me know in the comments if you're new. Subscribe if you are new. Let me know who's watching on Twitch. I'd appreciate knowing that. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, King Darian. Thank you, Figo, Frankie, Harry. Thank you, Zarok. Thank you, Mike, Christian Cartello, Vitali, Bonga. Thank you, Khaled, Hashraf, Balkan Warrior, Debbie Kerr, Emiliano, and Massimo. Another fantastic chat where I'm able to signal everybody out. Make sure you join me for more content, whether it's on the PS5 or previewing the Napoli game. My name is Anthony. Forza Inter worldwide. Ciao. Ciao ragazzi, it's Anthony here for Inter Worldwide with an announcement video to let you guys know that we have finally opened up channel memberships. That's right, if you are one of the very loyal Inter Worldwide people that have been following us from the start, this is an opportunity for you to get even more involved in this small but very much so growing and awesome community that we have here on the channel. So what will you get by joining the channel as a channel member? Well, firstly, you'll get our loyalty badges next to your comments in the live chat to help identify who the channel members are. Custom emojis to use in the live chat as well. Special member shout outs, but the stuff that might just tempt you a little bit more to sign up for a membership, uncensored members only live streams and videos with myself and a couple of other regulars on the channel, an opportunity for you to join the video and the live stream exclusively, and also the priority comments and discounted memberships on our Inter Worldwide merchandise as well. Guys, it would be amazing to get another little bit of a crew together for these channel memberships. And if you do decide to sign up, make sure you let me know personally so I can shout you out on the channel. Thank you very much. Forza Inter Worldwide.